to Claims and Sustains, a government contracts podcast. It is approximately 1,000,000 degrees. It is summer in DC. Our children are out of school. Our pets are unhappy. Our hair is dealing with humidity. And absolutely nobody has time for a revolutionary FAR overhaul right now.
No.
Which is why we are bringing you the latest updates in under 5 minutes so that you can get back to your day. I'm Amy Hoang.
And I'm Erica Bakies, and we are covering round 3 of the revolutionary FAR Overhaul, which dropped on June 12th and addresses FAR Parts 18, 39, and 43.
Okay, so to give you the world's fastest recap, if you're new to the revolutionary FAR Overhaul, the government is changing the FAR. It's taking a bunch of stuff that was in the FAR and it's moving it to agency buy-in guides. And it's implementing this by rolling out individual class deviations for each FAR part on a rolling basis. There you go, you're caught up. So let's jump in. FAR Part 18, that is the first part that is part of our Part 3. FAR Part 18 is emergency acquisition. So this is a post-Katrina policy change to make it easier and faster for agencies to acquire things during an emergency. So it is streamlined down. So things that are gone, definitions, procedures, a lot of approval requirements, and separate guidance for contingency operations. So this is very much in line with what we expected to see in the FAR overhaul. We're leaving in the important parts about here's how it works, but we're taking out a lot of the procedures and we're moving them somewhere else. In this case, they're going to get moved to this emergency procurement list that is published in the FAR. And it basically gives you a list of all of the things an agency can do to potentially streamline. Like here are the times where you can use a contractor who's not registered in SAM. Here's a time where you can purchase something without having a synopsis first on sam.gov. So it's just taking a lot of those requirements and moving them to a separate part. So that's about it for FAR Part 18. Why don't you tell us about FAR Part 39?
Okay, so FAR Part 39 was formerly called the Acquisition of Information Technology. That has been updated to Acquisition of Information and Communication Technology, which is going to cover IT, but also Internet of Things devices, emerging tech, and operational tech. And here's what changed. It's been reorganized, so now it's going to be in 3 different phases by the contracting life cycle. So we've got a pre-solicitation phase, an evaluation and award phase, and a post-award phase. A lot of the compliance obligations that are in there have been moved to other sections. So there's no longer a privacy clause, there's no longer a cyber clause. The additional bans like the Kaspersky ban, the TikTok ban, the 889 bans have also been moved to other FAR parts. So instead, they're focusing on accessibility. So really emphasizing that Section 508 compliance. Also, references to the OMB circulars have been removed. So now that's just standard. Meeting those requirements are going to be elsewhere. And then there's also going to be a removal for minimum education or experience requirements. So instead of making that mandatory for acquisition of IT, that is going to instead be discretionary. What's helpful here is they've added a practitioner's album, which includes a red line and a detailed description of these changes. And then eventually they're going to come out with a FAR companion guide, which will be released soon. So that's it for FAR Part 39. Amy, can you tell us about FAR Part 43?
Yes, we will wrap up with FAR Part 33, contract modifications. Luckily, this one was easy. This is much more cleanup job than major overhaul. This is like when I was an associate. These are the types of revisions that I hoped to get on my draft, which means we made some tweaks, but we're not like totally restructuring the whole thing. So a lot of what you would expect to see in contract modifications, the old FAR Part 43, are still there. We still have the definitions of modifications and administrative mod and bilateral mod, notices, fundings, changes clauses. Those are all still there. We're really only seeing some minor tweaks. So that one is pretty easy to do. Erica, why don't you give us some quick takeaways from this part of the overhaul?
Sure. So I think for in-house counsel, you need to be able to keep track of these deviations. The agencies are implementing them at different times and it can be very confusing. So make sure to watch out for what's applicable to you and when it becomes applicable. You also should watch out for disconnects between the new guidance and the current FAR requirements. That's going to get tripped up when you start seeing these. They're not going to be what you're used to seeing, so probably a good time to start rereading your contracts as those modifications come in. And then remember, there's more to come.
Absolutely. So that's it for this update of FAR Part 18, FAR Part 39, and FAR Part 43. We'll be back as soon as the next round drops. And until then, stay cool, stay compliant, and stay tuned to Claims and Sustains.
Thank you.